Huawei Honor 7X Review. Introduction. We've come to accept Honor devices as being great value. Relying on proven technology from its parent company Huawei, the Chinese brand has been consistently focused on bringing very good specs at tempting prices. That's no easy task, yet Honor makes it seem almost effortlessly natural at this point, with devices like the Honor 7X. Huawei's current Mate lineup already offers great value in the high-end segment, with the Mate 10 and Mate 10 Pro, as well as in the large screen mid-range, in the face of the Mate 10 Lite. However, it doesn't really take more than a quick specs comparison to see that the Honor is positioning the 7X as an almost identical offer, both hardware and design-wise, and at a price point lower than the €350 or so the Mate 10 Lite sells for. Honor 7X specs. Body, metal unibody, 2.5D glass on front. Screen, 5.93 IPS LCD, 1080p, 407 ppi, Gorilla Glass, unspecified version. Chipset, HiSilicon Kirin 659, 4X Cortex-A53 at 2.36 GHz plus 4X Cortex-A53 at 1.7 GHz, Mali T830 MP2. Memory, 3/4 GB RAM and 32/64 GB storage, hybrid micro SD slot. Camera, dual 16MP, 1/2.9, 1.25M, plus 2MP with PDAF, 1080p at 30 fps video. Selfie cam, 8MP, 1080p at 30 fps video. OS, Android 7.0 Nougat, EMUI 5.1 on top. Battery, 3,340 mAh, non-removable. Connectivity, hybrid dual nano SIM, hybrid micro SD slot, LTE Cat 4 150/50 Mbps support, Wi-Fi G/B/N, Bluetooth 4.1, GPS with GLONASS, FM radio, 3.5mm audio jack. Miscellaneous, fingerprint reader, DTS audio. Sure, you might be missing out on some selfie extras and a few other small details here and there, but in the US, Honor 7X is launching at just $200, a whole $50 less than its Honor 6X predecessor at launch. Europe is getting less of a bargain, but still not that terrible. Of course, no phone is without its faults. We would have loved to see a USB Type-C port on the Honor 7X. While at it, NFC support to power contactless payments would have been a nice touch as well. Still, in the grand scheme of things, a lesser-known brand seems to be enough to save you a pretty penny on some excellent Huawei hardware and hardware package. A deal we would gladly take any day of the week. Retail box. A simple, sturdy, two-piece cardboard box. That's what we like to see from value-conscious devices, and that's exactly what the Honor 7X ships in. Nothing too fancy, but we do dig the greenish-blue color Honor went with. It really makes it stand out. Removing the top part reveals a single compartment that only houses a wall charger and USB cable. Unfortunately, it's the micro USB type and not the newer, reversible Type-C port. The charger is rated at 10W or 2A at 5V, which coincidentally is the maximum power the Honor 7X will charge at. Design. A metal unibody and a glass front. It might be overused, yes, but we still think it's a timeless look. The Honor 7X pulls it off magnificently in every aspect, and we'll enjoy every bit of it, before the iPhone-inspired wireless charging-friendly devices come pouring in. Honor 7X Review. The Honor 7X has extremely flush and natural curves, quite reminiscent of an iPhone 7, or a couple of its predecessors. The phone is a pleasure to hold. Not only that, but Honor has really managed to step up its game when it comes to materials and build quality. The phone barely flexes under pressure and feels as solid as a rock. Past Honor devices have always been sturdy in their own right. This frame, however, is one of the sturdiest we've ever seen on a phone of this price range. Of course, on the flip side of things, A metal back does mean no wireless charging and requires the presence of antenna lines. The latter, however, are blended in really well with the rest of the body, and this is true regardless of the finish you choose, blue, gold or black. Honor 7X from the back. The only other exterior segment on the Honor 7X is a 2.5D front glass, which tucks away neatly into the frame itself, which is another really pleasant design choice. It's a Gorilla Glass, but Honor doesn't reveal which generation. Whatever the glass may be, the better part of the surface underneath it is occupied by a trendy new extra-wide, 5.9-inch, 18:9 panel. We really appreciate Honor stuck with Full HD, instead of saving a few bucks by going with a lower resolution. But, more on that later. The side bezels around the panel are quite thin, but nothing we would consider bezel-less. The top and bottom chins are quite reasonably sized as well. Besides the selfie camera and speaker, the top one also houses a notification LED. The bottom one only has an Honor logo printed on the underlying surface in a very Hawaii fashion. Convenient control layout. On the left side of the phone there is a single tray that houses a regular and hybrid SIM slot on the dual SIM model, or substitutes the latter for a dedicated micro SD one. On the opposite side, a volume rocker near the top and a power button beneath that. Both easy to reach, click Y and well defined. Honor 7X top and bottom sides. The top of the Honor 7X is pretty empty, save for a tiny hole for a secondary noise cancelling microphone. On the bottom, the micro SD port, we already whined about along with the single speaker. In all fairness, we can't realistically expect a stereo setup at this price point. Thankfully, what is included is a good old 3.5mm audio jack. A rear-mounted fingerprint reader is also part of the mix. In keeping with its solid reputation in this area, Hawaii equipped the Honor 7X with a very snappy and accurate scanner. Naturally, it is always on and can unlock the phone from standby. No complaints there. A surprisingly good 5.93-inch, full-view display. The Honor 7X packs a 5.9 IPS LCD with an 18:9 aspect ratio, quite similar to the one on the Mate 10 Lite. It is a very decent panel, and we particularly appreciate Honor hasn't gone for a lower than 1080p resolution. This makes for a pixel density of 407 ppi, perfectly sharp by modern standards. Looking at the test numbers, we are actually fairly certain that the Honor 7X has borrowed the exact same IPS LCD panel from its Mate 10 Lite cousin, or if not, a very similar one. The phone managed a respectable maximum brightness of 458 nits, just a few shy from the Mate and well within the margin of error. On the other hand, it managed to keep deeper blacks at full blast, which means a better contrast ratio rating. A pretty high one at that. Automatic brightness adjustment works well, but there is no max auto overdrive mode for use under direct sunlight. Still, the Honor 7X remains perfectly usable outdoors, with a strong sunlight legibility rating. Sunlight contrast ratio. Out of the box, the Honor 7X ships with a very cold color profile which gives whites a bluish cast. Still, not that bad in terms of accuracy, with an average delta E of 5.6 and a maximum of 9.7. However, it also offers color correction with manual adjustment and presets. Avoid the latter, since they are both way too extreme. You can try and mimic our best achieved setting instead, which, after a bit of tuning, brought down the delta E numbers to just 2.8 on average and 5.4 in the maximum. We would consider that color accurate. Battery life. Battery is another R. The Honor 7X borrows heavily from the Mate 10 Lite. So much so that it packs in the exact same capacity 3,340 mAh battery pack. Since the display and chipset are also identical in both devices and the software differences are minor at best, it should come as no surprise that the pair manage their battery life equally well. An endurance of 77 hours is above average and in the ballpark for a 16nm chip. The performance in the individual test routines, standby, call, and web, is quite promising, but it was let down by its relatively higher power draw in video playback. The only real letdown in this department is the lack of any quick charge support on the Honor 7. Its 10W charger is capable of bringing the battery from 0% to around 33% in half an hour, and a full recharge takes about 2.5 hours. Then again, we can't really be disappointed, considering the price bracket the Honor 7X is competing in. Audio output is accurate but quiet. The Huawei Honor 7X audio output is nicely accurate, both with an active external amplifier and with a pair of headphones. In fact, the only affected reading when our standard set came into play was the stereo crosstalk, which increased from excellent to average levels. The loudness was below average in both scenarios though, which prevents us from giving full marks here. Then again, that might not be a great concern if you don't have high impedance headphones, so you'll be the final judge. You can learn more about the tested parameters and the whole testing process here. Loudspeaker. Drawing yet another comparison, the Honor 7 has a single speaker, just like the one on the Mate 10 Lite. Quite literally, since the bottom firing unit scored almost identical loudness scores on the Honor 7X. Now, it is worth noting that unlike the Mate 10 Lite, the Honor has DTS audio splattered on its specs sheet. However, those improvements seem to be limited to the output through the audio jack. As for the loudspeaker, the Honor 7 sounds as good and as loud as its name brand sibling. Which is to say, quite impressive for its price. EMUI 5.1 on top of Nougat. Android 7 Nougat with EMUI 5.1 is a combination we've seen time and time again in both Huawei's and Honor's ranks. In that regard, there is nothing special or unexpected about it. However, that should not be misconstrued as criticism against the company's UX. In fact, Emotion UI is constantly getting better, with behind-the-scenes improvements, like better RAM management, improved mistouch detection and higher touch accuracy, to name a few. Plus, we appreciate the constantly shrinking amount of bloat bundled in the ROM, although there is still fat to trim, and the number and convenience of the baked-in features. For instance, you don't have to be stuck with or without an app drawer. EMUI offers both, and switching between them only takes a few seconds. You can be as organized or disorderly as you want. Launcher settings, navigation bar settings, theme engine and store. Speaking of neat advanced features not necessarily found in cheaper devices, the Honor 7X has a split screen mode. It is a pretty good way to make use of the extra screen height, but we can't fail to complain about the still limited app support for the feature. Notification and battery management. And while we're on the topic of convenient extra accessibility perks, EMUI has a few other notable ones. In no particular order, these include a powerful notification and battery managers, some gestures, quick access floating controls, one-handed UI, and even app twins, only for a limited number of supported apps, though. Performance. We realize the parallels are getting kind of repetitive, but can't avoid referencing the Mate 10 Lite yet again. It already offered some benchmark numbers and painted a pretty decent and usable picture for the Kirin 659 chipset. It is more of the same with the Honor 7X. Its scores are pretty much the same, within margin of error. That being said, you can expect pretty similar conclusions. The Kirin 659 has a total of 4 Cortex-A53 cores. 4 of those take the heavy lifting and work at 2.36 GHz, while the other 4 take care of less power-intensive tasks while ticking at 1.7 GHz. A recording. This is probably one of the bigger annoyances with the device. The verdict? Frankly, if you are looking for a trendy new ultra-wide phone, without breaking the bank, it is hard to beat Honor's value proposition on the 7X. Circling back to the earlier financial aspect of things, however, there is a major asterisk here. Checking some of the other options we listed on your local market is a good idea. If nothing else, look around for the Huawei Mate 10 Lite, since many carriers, especially across Europe, are offering it with a subsidized price, which might even the price of the two. Pros. Solid build quality. Great ultra-wide display. Solid battery life. Dependable overall performance. Flexible and feature-rich EMUI 5.1 Android ROM. Nice all-round camera experience with nice portrait shots, plenty of modes and advanced manual controls available. Fast and accurate fingerprint reader. Cons. No NFC or 5 GHz Wi-Fi support. No fast charging. All things considered, the Honor 7X is a solid, all-round device, even if, admittedly, a pretty boring and uninspired one. It's a safe, dependable, and financially sound choice. One that doesn't promise anything more than what it can deliver, but one that delivers just enough to pass as one of our recommendations of the season. Thank you for watching.